Welcome back to the Batty Girls Book Club podcast channel. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are two chatty baddies who love to talk about books. If you are new to our channel, we post new episodes every other week, with the first episode coming out on the second Wednesday of every month, covering fun topics like author spotlights, who our favorite FMCs are, and so much more.
The second episode will be posted on the last Wednesday of the month, where we will have Batty Girls Book Club. Yes, you heard that right. We are so excited to bring you all a fun new book club format where our viewers and listeners will be picking the book that we are going to read the following month, so that you all have the opportunity to read our book club book and tune in to hear our thoughts, theories, recaps, and reviews.
The book that we will be reading this month is posted on our Instagram page, so it is not too late to join in on the fun. We will be asking our viewers and listeners what questions you have about the book and what topics you want us to cover, so don't forget to find us on Instagram so you can be a part of the Batty Girls first book club episode coming out on Wednesday, March 27th. But today we have the honor of having our first guest on the podcast. Everyone meet Cortney Winn. Woo!
Hey!
Hey!
Cortney is an author who's currently working on an adult romantasy novel called Vesselless, and she is giving us the opportunity to ask her some questions about her journey of writing her first book and giving us the honor of sharing the first chapter with you all on this episode.
First of all, thank you so much for coming on our show and being an honorary Batty Girl. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Cortney, and I am a mom of two boys, 6 and 3. They're wild. They keep me on my toes. I live in Utah. Let's see, I used to be a wedding cake artist. I'm creative in a couple different things, but another thing about me is I'm almost done with my bachelor's degree in marketing. Yay! I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some young reads that I had that I loved growing up and got me into reading was obviously Twilight.
Yes.
I'm shameless. I love it. I still watch the movies. I know they're cheesy, but that's my comfort read. So, and did you guys ever read the Uglies series?
No.
That one was good. It had the Uglies, the Pretties, and then I can't remember the last one in the series, but I really liked those ones. And then Aragon, I had a little nerd streak there.
Yep.
So yeah, those were when I was in middle school, I read those ones. Another fun fact is Vesselless is not the first novel I've written.
Yes, I was looking through your page and I saw one of your first posts about a previous novel.
Yeah, so the first novel I tried to write, I spent 5.5 years on it. I rewrote it about 3 times before I finally just had to trunk it and move on, because I had just so many versions of the story in my brain that I couldn't move forward with it. One day I'll revisit it.
That's so cool. I mean, I feel like that shows so much perseverance too, to be able to say, you know what, this ain't it. And to be able to put something aside that you've spent so much time on, but look at now, you persevered through that, you learned so much through that, and now you're writing this incredible new novel. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think what held me back for so long is that I was clinging to that novel.
Yeah.
I had this I am going to get it right no matter how long it takes me to do it mentality, and that stalled my creative process. So when I finally made the decision to move on, it was like a weight off my shoulders. And I hit this Vesselless book with the ground running, and everything just fell into place. So if there's any writers listening, don't be afraid to trunk your first novel. It's not the end of the world. You can always come back.
That's like DNF, but for writers.
Yeah,
Stop writing.
Yeah. I couldn't handle the mental trauma anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, on the line of DNF 2, 2023 is the first year that I allowed myself to wholeheartedly DNF books. And I am so happy for that, because sometimes you start reading something and you're like, I'm a mood reader. I stop books sometimes, and it's okay But Vesselless, I will not be stopping.
I hope not.
Shameless plug. I read those 19 pages in like the record time for me. I was sitting there on my phone. Da, 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 da. It was so funny. Tim's like,
I
what are you
was
doing?
floored. I was like, oh, she'll probably get back in like a week or two.
No, I immediately read it. It was so good.
And then like 20 minutes later, you're like, done.
And I'm a slow reader. Like, I take my time reading. I'm a slow reader usually, but I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so you kind of mentioned some books that were inspirations to you growing up. Are there any books that really inspired you to start writing this novel?
Yeah, so I read Serpent and Dove, and it was such like a refresher for me that I was like, ooh, I want to go into like the magic and all of this stuff. And then another one obviously was like Fourth Wing. I came across that like as I was writing Vesselless, and her pacing was a
So good.
huge, yeah, it was so good. I was like, I want to emulate this pacing
Yeah.
and like this anxiety to finish.
Yes. You had it's one of those books where you're like, I can't put it down. I must have read that book in like 2 days or less, and that's fast for me. I was like, I
Yeah.
need to know what happens.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I read that book for a second time and I normally do not
Yes.
reread. Like only my top 5 books will I
Yes.
reread. And that was one of them. And it hit me just as hard as the first time I read it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like it set the bar for me to like aim for that.
Yeah. I
Like you're
love
so
that.
close to your work, you can't tell if you hit the mark on that or not. But it was like my poster child that I had
I
up.
love
Like,
that. And I feel like you'll get that feedback, and you have gotten that feedback from your beta readers and how like their excitement and wanting to keep reading, and even the 3 chapters you sent to me that I was like, I'm eating this up. I need to know what happens next.
thank you. A fun fact. Okay, so like a normal authors probably have like maybe 6 beta readers,
Yeah.
and I've gone through 12 because
I
I
love it.
wanted to nail that pacing. And
Yeah.
so I would send it after like a round of edits, and I would watch how fast it took them to read. I would watch where they left off, and I would go in and be like, "Hey, what was slow about this part that they felt like
Yes.
they could put it down?"
I love that.
Like I have been brutal on the beta readers.
Yeah.
Like I had a beta reader who does not read this genre,
Yeah.
and so that she will point out like this plot line,
Yeah.
get rid of, like that doesn't work. And then yeah, I just kept going until like this last beta I sent. She finished it in under 3 days. And so, oh my
Wow. That's so
God.
cool.
So that's the reason I went with 12 betas because this is my first debut and
Yeah.
I really wanted to do okay. So
Yeah, I think it will have no problem doing okay from what we've read.
I have another book, I guess 2 other books. So Brandon Sanderson, have you read any of his
I
fantasy?
am reading Tress of the Emerald Sea right now,
Okay, I
and
haven't read that one.
it's new and it's so cutesy. It's more of like I think it's more targeted for like YA, but it is so good, and it's my first Brandon Sanderson book. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so he actually lives in Utah, like just a couple hours away from me. His magic systems are like
Oh,
solid. Like you
yeah,
cannot break them.
yeah,
And so for that I was like used him as kind of like, okay, what does he do that makes him so believable,
so good.
and
Yes.
concrete? And I guess the last one was Aragon. I re-listened to it um, a year and a half ago. And then that I didn't realize that Christopher Paolini was
Yeah.
13 when he wrote those. And
What? That's
yeah, like
so
when he wrote
impressive.
Aragon, he was 13, and so I was like, okay, if a 13-year-old can do it, then
I
I
can do
can.
it. Are you feeling ready to let us know what Vessels is about? What's the synopsis? What's your query?
Yeah, okay, so I am gonna read my query. This is for anyone that doesn't know, like when you pitch a book to an agent, you have to write a query letter, and it basically tells them what the stakes are and why you should read the book. And so I was like,
I
I'll read
love
my
that.
cry letter. This is what I
Yes.
am sending to agents or have sent. So I have it ready.
Perfect.
Okay. Nazara has always been able to hear and see spirits better than the average caster. As heiress to the Tsar throne, an avid dueler, she enters a deadly tournament of swords and bonded spirit magic to win the non-magical wish granted to its champion. Nazara needs this wish to reverse the damage done to the Tsar kingdom and its people by her father, who killed the last king and stole his powerful vessel ring. Not wanting to become a power-hungry tyrant like her father, Nazara, victim to a hot temper, is determined to win the tournament alongside her bonded spirit without succumbing to the addictive magic she channels or taking a life in the duel ring. This forces her to fight with more skill and less magic than other casters, making her even more of an underdog in the tournament. Dagon, the last king of Tsar, was killed and his powerful vessel ring stolen by Nazara's father 10 years ago. Now a half ghost, able to phase between his human and spirit form, Dagon is stuck in another realm hunting and ripping wretched souls from their bodies. When his keeper offers him a chance to reclaim his freedom and his kingdom in exchange for Nazara's pure soul, Dagon takes the deal despite one catch. She must freely give her soul to him by the tournament's end, or his own soul is forfeit. In his spirit form, he befriends Nazara as she battles through the tournament, and when he realizes she's not like her murderous father, Dagon begins to fall for her unwavering loyalty, spiteful grit, and love for his people. As the final duel nears, Nazara is forced to bond with Dagon's spirit form to finish the tournament. The end of her time with Dagon approaches, and Nazara must choose to let him return to the cold, dark realm he came from, to die his final death, or give her soul to save the man she's grown to love.
Ooh! I'm speechless. It's so good. And I'm so excited. Even just reading the first couple chapters and then hearing all of that I couldn't have even gleaned happening from the beginning makes me so excited. We love souls. We love other realms. We love love. We love tournaments. Are you kidding me? This is so cool. And it's so unique. Like the spirit aspect of it, I think is so unique. And I'm so excited to read more about it.
Thank you.
You're
I think
welcome.
that's one of the most consistent feedback I've got from
Yes.
readers is that it is so different and unique, and I'm hoping that's a good thing.
Yes. I think it is. I can't even imagine trying to be unique in a world where so many stories already exist. Like, we obviously all get inspiration from different things that we read and listen to, but that's something I have yet to come across, and I think it's really wonderful. And I can picture it so vividly in my mind. That's one thing that I've had written down about, okay, what do I love about the chapters that I've read so far? Again, I love how unique it is. I love that there are different realms. I think that's really fun to like be able to jump back and forth into, and that having this spirit connected through a vessel is so cool. And then how descriptive your writing is. I really can picture it like a movie going on in my head as I was reading. Okay, so speaking of your book, we heard a little bit about it. What type of readers do you think would be, the target audience for your book? Are there any main tropes to promote here?
Yes. Okay. So, Vesselless is for fans of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, Fourth Wing, and the Akotar series, and From Blood and Ash. So, if you like any of those books, you are in the right place. The main tropes are enemies to lovers,
Love.
obviously.
The best trope there is.
Yeah, I agree. I can't get tired of it. I'm sorry.
Me either.
And then he falls first.
Oh,
Trope.
love.
And then I'm going to coin this micro trope. I made it up. So if it catches on, then
Yes, you heard it here first.
yeah. Okay, this trope. is this is what a first kiss should feel like.
Wow, I love that. It gave me the flutters. If you can tell us, Courtney, where can our viewers find you so we can follow along with your journey?
Okay, so I live on Instagram. At Cortney L Winn is my tagline. There's no U in my name. So yeah, Instagram, find me, and my DMs are always open for anyone that wants to chat books. So
That's how we found her.
yeah.
We were fast book friends. The DMs work.
Now, Courtney, before we dive into our readout of chapter 1, is there anything else that you wanted to mention about Vesselless?
I wanted to just point out that I have not sent this first chapter to my editor yet. So there might be some small changes you see if you read the book. But other than that, the plot is the same. Like you might see different word choice or punctuation, but that's about all that might change.
Perfect. That is a great call out.
We don't want to keep you all waiting any longer. Let's dive into the first chapter of Vesselless by Cortney Winn. Chapter 1. Nazara. To look upon the worst and see the best is true sight. To behold the whole and find no flaw, only then can one be right. Quoted from Love from a Blind Prince. Everything here is black. Black walls, black floors, and black chandeliers which rain down in deadly metal points lit with electricity instead of glowstones. Everyone here is sharper than in Zoe, as if the people of Zar are honed for violence and callousness from a young age. My new maid, Pracy, has a pink scar reaching up her lip which whispers of horrors unknown. She stalks to where I stand, clutching the only book I was allowed to bring from the libraries of Zoe, the book I held during the whole car ride here. This isn't your fault, child, Pracy says. Her voice, like her face, is hard, but sadness laces her honey-brown gaze. They flick toward the bedroom door, then back to me, careful to avoid my eyes. You do not have to fear me. Do you understand? I find her gaze, and she conceals her flinch better than most who meet my pitch-black irises. My grip tightens around my small book of forgotten idealism in the face of her in this vast, unforgiving bedroom. My new bedroom, furnished with ottomans recently sat in, vanities used mere days ago, mirrors that reflect a new owner, a freshly emptied closet, and a washroom the size of which I have never seen, all black. My father, still in his infantry general uniform, enters without knocking, and Pracy stiffens before leaving us, her expression somehow more piercing than before. He gestures to the bed draped in black silks and velvets, adorned with more pillows than I could possibly use. Do you like it? He won't like my answer, so I don't say anything, not after he lost his temper with me yesterday. He kneels in front of me, his face a portrait of fatherly love, a portrait only shown to me, when no one is around, when no goblet of wine is near. He holds out his palm to me, and I stiffen at the sight of the smooth, golden ring resting in the crease of his hand. You are my chosen heiress of the Tsar kingdom, my successor to the throne, he says. It is time you take a vessel. My voice is small but unafraid, despite the rising panic in my chest. Most nobles wait until their teens. His dark eyes crease around the edges as he pushes the vessel ring closer. Your mind is mature enough for this power, and so is your soul. I swallow, having witnessed his lust for power grow over the last few months, changing him. I do not want a vessel, I say, sudden fire taking my chest. I do not want to be the heiress of Tsar. Simmering rage enters his gaze, his mouth dropping at the corners. A flicker of the man he's been lately flashes in his eyes, and I catch the tiny but sharp smell of wine lingering on him. When I take a quick step back, he snatches my hand. I don't care what you want, he says, through bared teeth as he fights my small but determined arms. I care about what's best for you. He knocks my book to the stone floor and wrestles me to the ground, trying to jam the golden vessel onto the middle finger of my left hand as I thrash against him. As soon as he rams the unremovable vessel to the apex of my finger, intricate tendrils jut out of the metal band, sinking into my flesh. I scream, and it echoes off black walls, dying on an empty castle still painted with fresh blood. An invisible energy creeps from the vessel over my skin, humming in a near-silent frequency. There, he says, a smoothness reclaiming his face as he lifts me up and returns my book to my hand, an unspoken apology already lingering in the air between us. My chest is still heaving from panic and rage as the ring on my finger burns my skin, where metal buries into the flesh of my hand. We have many enemies. This will protect you, Nazara. I glare at him with every shred of hatred an 11-year-old girl can muster as he says, I know spirits scare you, even if you don't admit it, and you're right to be wary of them. So I found one who will take care of your soul. From the rafters, a pinkish presence separates itself from other near-invisible orbs of energy. From conversations I've overheard, I know humans shouldn't be able to perceive spirits like I can, but I've always been more sensitive to their dimension. Her name is Liha. Let into the energy that surrounds you now, the caster's shield. He clears his throat, a warm depth returning to his face as his gaze darts from my furrowed brows to the firm pinch of my lips. You are a caster now. I feel Liha's presence, a more concentrated form of warm air nudging the caster's shield, now clinging to me like a body glove. I don't want to be a caster, I say, clinging to my edition of Love from a Blind Prince, as if it can siphon my tears. He bows his head, voice trembling with so much emotion, I feel it clogging the space between us. If you never trust me in any other matter, please trust me in this. Accept her into your shield. I close my eyes, my mind is screaming not to do it, but my soft heart wins, falling for his warm voice all over again. I open my mind, energy, and soul to Liha.
That is a wrap on our first Author Spotlight episode. Thank you again, Cortney, for being a Batty girl and joining us in sharing our love of books. We cannot wait to get our hands on the finished copy. If I can't say it enough, I'm so excited. And we will be keeping you all in the loop on when and where you can get a copy for yourself once it is published.
If you are an author and would like for us to spotlight your work, please reach out to us. We would love to meet you. Also, if you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a follow and or leave us a review at Batty Girls Book Club. And don't forget,
stay batty! Woo!